Hey everyone, and welcome back to Maple Syrup News, where we look at some of the biggest stories touching the Nintendo Switch. Now in today's video, we're actually going to be covering quite a bit of information, because there's been a couple of games that have been announced for the Nintendo Switch, some other games that have gotten solid release dates, one of my top indie titles of last year that is actually going to be receiving a free update, and then to finish things off, we're going to be talking about the latest Nintendo Switch Online update that not only gave us a brand new game, but actually came with some upgrades to the emulation. And also, we are going to be talking Pokemon Arceus. Now, for all of you out there, do not worry, I will not be including ever any spoilers in these news broadcasts. So do not worry, you will be safe, but we will be talking about the game in general and also the fact that a brand new trailer was just released. So now as you follow along, if you want any more information, all the trailers and sources that I'm using for this information will be linked down below in the description of the video. And don't forget that if you do like the content, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. So we're going to start with the couple of games that currently have been announced for the Nintendo Switch but do not have solid release dates. And the first one is coming from Red Deer Games with Swords and Bones. Now, obviously, if you follow the channel, you know I love my retro-style games, and this is one that is aiming at the 16-bit style. It's going to feature 50 action-packed levels with at least 6 bosses, and honestly, from what I see in the trailer, some really great pixel art inspired by classics like Ghost and Goblin and Castlevania. Now, obviously, to see if this game is going to be worth your time, we're going to have to wait to get it released, but nonetheless, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this one. Now, the other game that was announced for the Nintendo Switch, once again without a specific release date, was Samurai Bringer from Playism. Now, this time around, we're looking at an action RPG with roguelite elements. But what definitely attracted me to this trailer and hit me right away are all the similarities I'm seeing to that classic old school series Brave Fencer Musashi. I, for one, was a huge fan of that release, and if they're going for that overall playstyle, I will definitely be interested in this game as well. Once again, another one that I will definitely be following. So next, we move over to the games that actually got solid release dates, and the first one is Soul Cresta coming to us from Platinum Games. Now, Platinum Games is maybe not best known for their retro-style titles, they're rather known for AAA hits like Astral Chain and Bayonetta. But this time around, they've decided to throw their hat in the ring into a old school shmup. Now, originally this game was actually set to release in 2021. However, after a couple of delays, it seems like now it's finally getting its final resting spot, and it will be releasing on February 22nd. They've also released pricing on the game, having a regular MSRP of $39.99. Now, this might feel like a lot for a retro-styled shmup, but based on the track record, once again, of Platinum Games, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt till I actually play the game, and I once again will definitely be picking this one up. Now, our next game that got announced actually last week was LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, that honestly, I think we've been waiting forever to get a solid release date on, and it's finally been announced coming out on all consoles on the same day on April 5th. Now, once again, just as in all these announcements, final judgment will always be reserved till the game actually releases. But by the trailer they just released from the Skywalker Saga, this just might be the best LEGO game yet. And once again, if you follow the channel, you already know I'm a fan of their humoristic take on huge franchises. But basically, this game looks like it's going to be huge, basically spanning all 9 entries of the current mainstream Star Wars saga. Now, although I'm super excited for the release of this game, there was also some sort of negative publicity that came out at the same time of this game, where unfortunately, apparently, some of the development team felt like they were suffering from crunch-type timetables. Now, that's always something that is super unfortunate to hear, and I hope it doesn't go widespread in the industry, but at the same time, I nonetheless want to check this game out because it looks like it's going to be a great game, but that is something to be aware of. Now, last on our list of releases that have been announced, we have River City Girls 0 that the pre-orders are going to be starting at Limited Run Games on January 28th to pick up a physical edition of the game. Now, obviously, if you know Limited Run Games, Do not expect the game to be delivered in a couple of weeks. Generally, their production cycle is at least 3 to 6 months. Now, just in case you're unfamiliar with this game, it's actually not a brand new game. It's rather the localization of a game that had solely been released in Japan in the 90s. And to my knowledge, it is pretty much one of the first times on consoles that you could play as the female versions of the River City series heroes. Now, personally, I have not played the original version of this game, so I cannot tell you how well it stands up today. However, I will be taking a chance on this one and pre-ordering my physical version on January 28th. Now, just before moving on to the bigger stories, there are a couple of last items I wanted to run through really quickly. Now, first of all, the fact that Mighty Goose is getting a free update. Yes, you heard that right. One of my favorite indie games of 2021 is getting a brand new level. Now, Mighty Goose is a Metal Slug type run-and-gun shooter. And previously, I had fallen in love with this game. The only thing, and I agreed, is it was a tiny bit short. However, the developer is starting to address that, releasing a first free update with a brand new level based around water mechanics. So not only are you getting a brand new level, you are getting mechanics you haven't seen before, with basically Mighty Goose riding on a surfboard and also getting a brand new vehicle. Now, we don't have a solid release date, but once it does drop, make sure to boot back up your game. And if you haven't picked it up yet, the fact that the developer is putting attention back into it is a super good sign. And also, I just wanted to give a shout out to the fact that a few Kirby Amiibos are actually getting reprinted. Now, obviously, this has to do with the release of the brand new Kirby game that is coming up pretty soon. So Nintendo is releasing basically 4 different Amiibos. If you're a collector, it could be a great time to pick them up if you missed them the first time around. So finally, we're getting to the bigger stuff, and we're going to start with the latest Nintendo Switch Online update that primarily brought us the awesome game Banjo-Kazooie. Now, a lot of people thought this game would never see the light of day on the Nintendo Switch Online service because previously Microsoft has purchased Rare, who were the developers of the original game, and obviously even released an updated version on the Xbox. However, we can see that for the moment, there seems to be some kind of partnership between Nintendo and Microsoft, and they're sharing some of their bigger licenses. So obviously, getting this game now available on the Nintendo Switch Online is going to be a huge deal breaker for some people. But the bigger story behind this, to me, is not actually the fact that we got Banjo-Kazooie, but rather, along with the update, we received an improvement to the emulator. I'm basing most of the information I'm giving you based on the video I saw from Modern Vintage Gamer. I'll be linking that video down below. You can go check it out. He's going to go into way more details than I will here. But he basically compared Ocarina of Time, which was one of the weakest running games on the Nintendo Switch Online service, before the update and after the update. And you can clearly see that Nintendo has not only been releasing new games, but also bringing improvements to the overall emulator to the games that are already there. One of the most striking performance improvements is how the water is rendered in Ocarina of Time, which clearly is a huge upgrade. Now, Modern Vintage Gamer does go on to show that there are still other elements that need to be worked on, but just the fact that Nintendo has been taking notice and working on the emulator behind the scenes is still, in my opinion, some really, really good news. Now, to close this all out, the only thing I can say about this is I'm really hoping that this isn't just a one and done thing from Nintendo and that they will keep working on their emulator till we actually get the best experience available on the Nintendo Switch Online service. So now, to wrap up today's video, we are jumping into the Pokemon Arceus discussion. Now, first of all, yes, I know the game has leaked, but personally, I am completely staying away from all leaks on the game. I want to experience it fresh for the first time on Friday when I'm going to be picking up my physical copy of the game. I'm also 99% sure that we're going to be streaming that game on Friday evening, so if you're interested in experiencing the game for the first time along with me, please tune in to that stream. But the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that yes, leaks are out there, so if you are constantly on social media, there are certain terms like Pokemon and Arceus that you might want to block till Friday hits if you really want to make sure you're not hit with any spoilers. But secondly, and what I will be covering today, I want to talk about the brand new trailer that just dropped. If you were on the fence about this game and you really didn't understand where Nintendo was going with it, they just dropped a 6-minute overview trailer of the game that will nonetheless give you a super good idea of where they're going with this game, obviously without any major spoilers included. Now, this trailer was previously available, however, it was not localized and it was not available in English. So it is brand new. The trailer just released yesterday, and like I said, I'll be linking the full thing down below, is that it is now available fully in English. Now, since I had stayed away completely from spoilers, I, for one, am now super hyped after watching that trailer, and I'm really looking forward to Friday. So that is pretty much it for our second edition of Maple Syrup News. Now, I want to hear from all of you. How are you liking this series, and what are your favorite stories from today's video? Now, as I said in the previous video, hopefully eventually I'll be able to do a second edition a week, therefore making the videos a little more streamlined and short, but nonetheless, I hope so far you are enjoying the series. Now, on the way out, don't forget that if you did like the video, as usual, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.